way of how we are going and what exactly our approach is. Earlier, we have seen some kind of aspects related to the Spark architecture. Okay, so in the certification, all these things, guys, the Spark architecture is having some certain weightage. Like, just we have seen some kind of aspects related to the architectural things. And then there we have seen what exactly a job, and thereafter the stages of the jobs, and then we have seen some kind of the tasks. These things we have seen. Okay, whenever there is a reference, definitely I'll come back and talk about those kind of aspects. But coming to the current thing, your 60 to 75 percentage of the questions, okay, are coming from data frames actually. Okay, no matter whether you are data engineer associate or data engineer professional. Okay, without touch base on the usage of the data frame, there is no approach of there is no questions. Okay, majority of the questions are revolving around this data frames. We'll try to understand and some of the principles and day to day whatever the aspects we are seeing. So just I'll try to project all those things which really helps you in your preparation. Apart from that, okay, whatever the topics I am covering, if you are having any specific explanations required, maybe some people may be working on professional certification, they may need some best practices or user defined functions or whichever. So just let me know so that I can scope those kind of points also. Okay. Now, one of the important aspect is there, friends. In the data frame, let me give you this convention. If you are referencing to this particular Spark data frame kind of the aspect, so this data frame is a construct, okay, which provides a container kind of the thing, which is basically a container and which is providing us the storage and as well as the access mechanisms, storage and access mechanism. And now, in the current topic, what I'm going to do is to understand this Spark data frame. Okay, so just let me give you how to create a data frame. Okay, in what way we are creating this particular data frame and which are all the things required. So, as a first part, friends, okay, there are certain aspects called Python collections. Okay, and second important thing is from Python data frame, we can create Spark data frame. Okay, from Python data frame also, we can create the Spark data frame. Now, can someone help me, guys, maybe in the chat window or directly by unmuting, can give you what exactly a Python collection? Have you ever seen this, the topic of Python collection or something like that? No idea, no? Okay, it's okay, no problem. So just observe here, friends. So little bit Python is definitely required for any data engineer. So, however, I'm going to post some material and I'm covering all those kind of discussions. So a collection is nothing but a container. So like as if you are referencing is a container and that is used to store, okay, the collections of the data or collection of the data. Yes, it is providing some kind of the container and which is used to store some collection of the data. And the best and the most frequently used collections are list data structure in Python and as well as dictionary. And then we are making use of this particular set. And thereafter, guys, we are using this tuple also. Okay. And believe me, guys, though we are talking about the Spark kind of the data frame, majority of the time we are going to utilize this list-based data frames or else dictionary if you want to maintain a key value pair kind of aspect, or if you want to maintain the unique kind of the data, just you can go and make use of the Spark data frame with the help of the set and tuples for the specific purpose. Like if I want to maintain the right protected data and all those kind of things, you can go with the tuple narration. So now the understanding here is how do we observe what is a list and what exactly the dictionary and what do you mean by this tuple and what is this set? And after getting these kind of the conventions, one can easily dependent on these aspects and they can create the data frame without any problem. Okay. Now let me observe this point. Just I'm having some data with me and like this I'm having some data friends here. So here I'm making use of client ID as one, company name is Indium, and client is Databricks. So here you can observe easily this is a heterogeneous kind of the data because this is the integer kind. This is a group of characters. So it is a string. This is also a string kind of the data. Now this particular list, okay, which is very flexible, guys, which is very flexible, and you can mutate. Okay, you can change the values. Okay, maybe after some time, this Databricks, we are getting some other client. Okay, maybe Uber or something. Just I can update the client name also. Okay, that means one whatever the data I'm having, I can update also the appropriate data. Dictionary purpose is specific, friends. Like sometimes I want to maintain the data in the key value pair. Okay, what exactly this key value pair is like this? I'm having my client ID as colon, just I'm giving one. Okay, so with the brackets, with the flower brackets, I can create. Second thing is the name of the client, assume that client name. Okay, Databricks and comma, just I'm giving the company name, colon, just I'm giving company name as India. So see, only one kind of the data in the list format we have discussed like this. Whereas if I want to maintain the key value pair kind of thing, I can change the narration. Similarly, the tuple is there, friends, actually. Tuple, so suppose the same thing I can define like this. Rather than using big brackets, I'm having this tuple narration one and as well as Indian. And then I'm having the client name, some Databricks like this. Now, if you observe this point, guys, the in the list also we have seen more or less same thing, but the brackets are distinct, and moreover the data is same. Okay, and I am making use of this client name like that. But only the thing is tuple, I cannot change the data. This is immutable. Okay, immutability in the sense once you store the data, I cannot update or I cannot modify that data. But list can be mutable. The property of the updation is possible. Okay, so that is the distinction between list and as well as the tuple. It is you to decide whether I need to go with the list or tuple. Maybe in the future, if I want to modify my data, then I can go with the list. Whereas I am stick on to my data and the data is right protected, then I can go ahead with the tuple kind of thing. So there is a specification, guys, actually, set data structure. Like, suppose I want to get the unique client name rather than the repetitions. Now you see, set can be declared like this. Just I am making use of s equal to 1, 2, 3. Though I am giving 1, 2, 3 again, finally your set is taking only non-repeated data items. Okay, so if you want to maintain any data in the unique format, then you should make use of this kind of the set notation. Okay, the set notation. And now coming to our actual discussion is how we are going to create a Spark data frame with these collections. Okay, because the first point in the data frame discussion is how do we create the data frame with the Python collections? Okay, for that purpose, friends, we are having certain terminologies. Let me show you the examples also. Okay, let us write that examples and all. So now, if you refer this example, I'm having some kind of information like employee certifications. Okay, here I'm having a list. Okay, some members are having one certification, some are having two, some are having three, and some are having four certifications. Now, at the moment you want to create this, just like that, you can create this thing in your community, whatever the edition we are having, the Databricks edition, and directly you can run through friends. And once you check out this type of employee certifications, obviously will be getting the list data structure because the way you are defining this particular brackets defines what exactly the specification. Now, already many a times I notified about these two objects actually, Spark context and Spark session. Can someone help me, friends? What is the difference between these two and why we are using these two? Is there any specific reason behind that? There is one. Can you give the reason why we are using Spark context or Spark session? You also participate, friend, because it's not a one-sided thing. Because this should be interactive. Okay, so but I thought of maybe after two or three sessions, definitely you only come up and Himanshu, no problem. You can also speak out.
Yeah, just I have some idea about Spark context. I believe Spark context was
Uh,
related to Java, like who used to work because there are some library like we can who know Java and who can use some libraries from the Spark Java. Somehow like some rough knowledge,
hmm.
not a clear knowledge, but yeah, some idea.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's okay. So let me give you this thing, friends. No problem. So Spark
So
context
I guess
is one. Yeah, go ahead.
so
Yeah.
like Spark contest could be like an entry point into the
Mm,
programming
very
and
good.
to connect it to the clusters
Nice.
and whereas in Spark session you can start the programming with like data frames and tables.
Yeah, partially I do agree with one. Only the thing is either the Spark context or Spark session, either of these things can be taken as the entry point. Okay.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
the distinction is, friends, here. Thank you for that, Rizwan. Very good. So if you are referencing Spark 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0, initially they started with the typical or core Spark. And, but that time the appropriate Python based kind of the libraries are not that much famous. But what they have done is, along with this particular Spark, okay, they want to add some Hive and as well as the SQL also. Now observe here, guys. Anyhow, Spark is having its own context. This is the Spark context. As our friend told, is the entry point, of course, so as to interact with the cluster and to perform some kind of the jobs. And they came up with this Hive context, and they also embedded this SQL context. Okay, and this Spark context is up to Spark 1.0. Okay, from Spark 2.0, what they have done is they added this Spark context along with the Hive context and as well as the SQL context. So now at the moment I am talking about the Spark session, it is understood that inside there is Spark context. By default, Spark context is there. By default, Spark context is there. Of course, activities of both Spark context and Spark session is same. Both are acting as entry point. Okay, where to interact with the API kind of thing. That is the base. But whereas if you, as a programmer or as a developer, if you want to use your SQL or advanced Python kind of aspects along with this Hive kind of the data loading, definitely you have to go with the Spark session. Okay, so until the company is insisting on usage of the 1.0, okay, all the developers of 2.0 or 3.0 now habituated to use this Spark session. They habituated to use this Spark session. Okay, now the point is, so the Spark session we are very clear, which is the entry point and where you can venture your code and as well as your jobs. All these things are going to point with the cluster actual. Okay, and now the point is, friend, there should be some kind of programmatical construct where it is going to help us to understand the notion of the spark. So for that, just a minute, guys. So just I need to show some kind of information to you. Let us have a look on this. The cluster, which is really giving you some kind of betterment, better idea. Okay. Let me sign in 1 minute. The cluster I'm launching. So if you refer this particular point, okay, now at the moment, friends, if you are making use of this, because this is our favorite workspace where you can make use your day-to-day activity, preparation or research or whatever. And in my case, it is my it is of course for any kind of the training I use this kind of maybe it is Python. Then in that case, I can make use of the Jupyter notebook. And if it is database training for DE, I can use this one. And even for ML also, we'll use the same kind of the convention. Okay. Now the point is, guys, as I'm talking about the Spark orientation, if you refer this particular Spark orientation, there is a specific object called Spark. Okay, so as to maintain the convention, and if you observe this message, just I am pasting in the chat window also, so that you can have a look on that. Okay, so just observe there, guys. So apart from your Spark context or Spark session, directly our Databricks Community Edition or Proprietary Edition, whatever, it is directly giving us the understanding of what exactly this Spark object is. Now, you need not again go and get the Spark session or Spark context because in Databricks Community Edition, they are wrapped into this Spark actually. Okay, they are wrapped into the Spark object. Okay, now if you are referencing the Spark object, guys, at the moment you want to get what exactly the Spark is, what it is saying, Spark session along with the Hive support. Of course, internally Spark context is also there. Okay, this Spark context is also there. And Spark UI. I'll guide you guys. I don't want to give the entire things on the day one of the discussion. Of course, if you are referencing this Spark UI, this is a user interface. Many things you can observe. DAG is there, identification of the job functionality, and then certain stages of the jobs and task notion, all these things. And moreover, it is giving the version of that Spark which we are using, and then the master. Okay, in one simple way, this master and app name, guys, are only the distinct ones. If you are having the proprietary, maybe if you are using the proprietary one, maybe they can give us some kind of virtual machine. They adopt to us, and I can make use of these kind of the conventions. Okay, if you are referencing this point, guys, this master, as we are launching our Spark application through our local machine, it is showing like that only. Local machine, just a master is also just we are in the local mode we are running. That's what it is showing that. And then app name. So just this is the Databricks shell. So whatever the Jupyter notebook we are already we are having familiarity with the Jupyter notebooks. If we are having the background of this Python. So definitely this is not new for you. But only the thing is there is a distinction actually compared with our Jupyter notebook. We are having here multiple aspects. Like there is a Python, SQL, Scala, and R. If you see the kind of notion, maybe in my Jupyter notebook I won't get all these multiple flavors. I'll be getting only the Python by default. Whereas the other formats, if you are referencing the this Databricks Community Edition and Proprietary Edition, we are getting, or along with Python, you can run your code in SQL and Scala and R programming. Okay, but our interest is in Python. However, sometimes we are making use of Spark SQL, and the programmers who are only having the knowledge in SQL, they can make use of this Spark without any step back friends, because out and out SQL kind of the scripts also there so as to interact with the Spark actually. That's what I said. Maybe Hive context, SQL context, okay, are very much helping a database kind of the developers. Maybe some people they are only having the knowledge on database and Hive, so they can directly come and venture this thing without touch basing on Python and Java. But only the aspect is Python is so flexible, and for machine learning applications up to the level of machine learning, if you want to, and maybe I cannot say like that, but if you want to be a resource person of both machine learning and data engineering, then you can make use of this Python orientation. So finally, Python is so flexible, and Python is having the extensions until the ML libraries and all you can perform the activities. So that is the base point where all we are trying to dependent on this particular Python so as to leverage our learning. Okay, this is the fundamental aspect. Now to observe what I am talking about, just I said, earlier, like what exactly that creation of the data frame. Okay, so just with the examples, okay, I have taken some name list, and this is definitely a list kind of the data. And only the thing is, guys, directly I can make use of this particular point. Okay, how do I do that? Is the Spark. This is the entry point. However, this is the object of that Spark session. Directly, the entire aspect are wrapped into this Spark. So we are having a method called create data frame. Okay, we can create a data frame, and the names list I have created as a list kind of thing. Just now we have discussed. A list is something like which may contain heterogeneous or homogeneous kind of the data, but it should be embedded in these particular open and closed brackets. So once this is over, just what you need to do is just you need to pass this particular list into the data frame method. And then most importantly, guys, this point actually. So let me go to the OneNote. So there we'll see how one can easily refer the notion of the second argument. First argument we are clear. Okay, like what we are doing here is a simple Spark dot create data frame. Okay. Now first what I have given, whatever the list I am having, list one. Second thing is mentioning of the schema actually. So friends, which is very simple. Like suppose I'm having the list here like this. List one, what I have taken is the number of certifications maintained by the employees. Okay, over the period of time, 1 year or something like that, we are having these kind of data with us. Now, what I can do is directly I am giving this information and schema. Actually, this is the integer type, integer, float, character, like that. We're having different types. But what I can do is the Spark dot create a data frame of Okay, obviously you can give this list one. Now I am specifying this integer. Okay, what it does is just it is going to create a data frame. Okay, and that too the data frame is related to the Spark data frame. Okay, the Spark data frame, and only one liner is there. So just I am having one, two, three, four, only a single column data frame. This I can say as one column or single column data frame. Okay, single column data frame. So this is pretty easy now. Whatever the data I'm having, just I am taking the list, and based on that particular list, I am making use of some kind of the data items. Okay, so along with that list, you may ask me this question: without giving this particular integer, can we create that? Um, I mean, data frame. Okay, so the problem here is, guys, the Spark data frame. Okay, the Spark data frame expects the schema information. The schema is nothing but the type of the data items and all. So definitely you have to mention that argument, guys. So integer or float or whichever the data type that is maintained, that we have to give the corresponding things. Okay, so that is most important point you need to observe. And whenever there is a discussion about the structure type and all, I will introduce those aspects also. Okay. Now, maybe if I'm asking you this thing, I'm having one list with me, list two. Just I'm creating the name, uh, Himanshu, Rizwan, Deepika, like that some data I'm having. Now, what I'm doing here is just I want to create my data frame, spark dot create data frame. Okay. No? Just you need to give the list two. And as this is not the integer, I cannot give the integer kind. So just you can give the string type. That's all. Okay, na? So this way, it is very easy to create a list. Based on the list, I can easily create the appropriate data frames. Okay. So this concept is pretty simple, guys. Just I'm having the list and all. But another collection is there. No? The another collection is what is the tuple actual I'm having. So this particular tuple, what it says is with the help of the tuple also, because we were saying that collections, Python collections. Most frequently used collections are list, tuple, and as well as a dictionary. So just if I'm asked to create a data frame with the help of the tuple, then how do I do that? Similarly, I will take the tuple like this, friends. Tuple underscore certification, whatever the name I want, I can give. And I'm creating this tuple like this, friend. Be cautious here. In these brackets, only one element is there. Na? I cannot leave that single element because tuple demands in this way. Okay, so if you consider these declaration, this is depending on the tuple. This is nothing but Python identifies this thing as a tuple. Okay, and Spark also though. So just if you are typing this tuple underscore certification, just it gives the tuple. Okay. Now at the outset, you may ask this question. The entire thing is presented in the list. I would say list of tuple actually this is. List of tuples. So one simple point, friends, here. Initially, if you see this list of entire things, this gives the list, but internally we are storing that as a tuple. Now the simple analogy here is like this. What I can do is if I am printing tuple underscore certification, just the entire data I will be getting 2, 3, 1. Okay, I cannot leave the individual thing so that I should put comma. That is how we need to declare the individual or unit tuples, individual elements. But I am having multiple, that is a different story. I will tell that how to handle the different tuples, multiple tuples in a same kind of the declaration. Now, if you are making use of this thing, friends, so initially the entire thing is a list. But if I want to pick up a particular element, I can pick up the element like this because one point, friends, here your index start from 0 This is the first element, this is the second element. If you are asking this 0, then it gives like this. And if your data item starting with 1, it is giving 3 like this. Now what we are doing here is I want to check the type of the element, this element. Tuple, certification of 1 if I am doing, then definitely it should give the tuple. That is the difference, friends. If I am checking the type of my entire data structure, it gives the list. Okay, na? This is nothing but the entire data structure. Of course, is the list type because we are embedding the list. Okay, we are embedding these tuples inside the list. That is what, as a whole, if you are considering type of this thing, it is giving a list. Whereas if you are referencing this type of individual element, then that is a tuple kind of thing. Okay. Now, a declaration is simple, and how do I define these? How do I create this thing? Is pretty simple, friends. Spark dot same create data frame of, okay, whatever the information I'm having, a tuple underscore certification. Now, one doubt should come to you. You said that in the earlier example, Spark dot create data frame while using the list one, I should mention the data type or schema. But why this thing is taking the without any schema also, you have created this tuple. Exactly the point is that one. So you are right. So the point here is while using the list, important friend, one time they asked this thing also. While using the list to create the data frame, we have to mention the schema info. Okay, schema info. But whereas guys, okay, whereas the most important point we observed is while using the list of tuples to create the data frame in Spark, we need not mention the schema info. That is the major distinction how we are specifying in the declaration of the list and as well as the tuples. Okay. So likewise, one can easily create the appropriate data items, and they can make use of this creation of the tuples and all. But one thing, as a general programming practice, you can do this also. Spark dot create data frame. Now I am using this tuple certifications, comma. You can clearly mention, guys, certification. Of course, this is the integer type. Nothing wrong. It won't object us. So the point here is while using the tuple, you can take the second argument as optional. This you can take as optional, but as a general programming practice, what we'll do is no matter whether I'm using the list, whether I'm using the tuple, whether I'm using the dictionary, in all the cases, as a common or generic programming practice, it is always preferable to specify the second argument. Hope you got the difference, friends. If you are observing the list, definitely you have to mention the second argument. Whereas in case of the tuple, that is not required. Okay, whereas if you are mentioning that point, that is not required. That is the case where you can observe the usage of list and as well as the tuple. Okay, so we are having hardly 10 minutes, friends. So, okay, no problem. I'll utilize that 10 minutes in this way. Now, generally, we'll go with the multi-column data frame. How we are going to work with multi-column data frame. Okay. Now, what we can do is here, guys, while working with the multi-column kind of thing, what I'm doing here is just I'm taking the list of DE candidates, just one that ID of the member, Himanshu. And second, there is one. Third, so who is our third guy? Uh, oh, Satya also joined. Huh? Okay, right. I'll give Satya's name in that case. Satya. Okay. So these three things I am using, friend, because multi-column data frame I am using. So this is the representation. Of course, we know that this is a tuple. This is also a tuple. Like that list of tuples I am using. This is general practice we use. So very simple. In that case, just as we know that tuple won't object us to mention without any schema. Also, I can do that. So just I can make use of create data frame of de underscore list. Okay, directly I can make use of that kind of thing. Or else the generic way is this way. Okay, the generic way is that Spark create data frame. What we are doing, we are mentioning the list of tuples. And then generally, friends, in the earlier example, we have only one column. No? So we mentioned that integer. But now we are having multiple columns. What I am doing here is my user ID is of course integer type, comma. Second is the name of that person. Just what I'm taking is name. Okay, already we started this thing, not required. Then just to mention the string and close this. So the second way of doing thing is even for the new member who is joining to our project, if he is also knowing what we are doing, he should also know what we are doing. Then it is always better to mention the schema information also. So we can easily say that user ID and name. Oh, we are working on these kind of the conventions. Like that, you can simply mention. So the usage of the list of tuples related to these kind of the conventions. Okay, so this is a generic practice where we can do how we are going to create the appropriate data items with the help of the list and with the help of the tuples. And other thing is there, friends. That is what with the help of the dictionary. Dictionary, as you know, is a key and as well as the value pair. Now let us see how we are creating the data, how we are creating the DE list of candidates. So DE candidates. So just I am having the list. Initially, I am opening up this thing and I am creating some key value pair, friends. Okay, so user ID and this user ID is one. And then I am simply mentioning the name. Okay, like this, and close this thing, comma. Just to open up one more thing, user ID. Yes, there is a second name of the person. Just to give name. Okay, and if I want to manage one more key value pair, so just to you can make use of that convention and name. Just to mention some. Okay, now just to close this list, friends. So again, what we are doing is list of this dictionary. Okay, dictionary how we can define key and as well as the value pair. Key is user ID, value is one. Key is the name, value is one. Like that, we're having some kind of thing. Now, what we can do is simple spark dot create data frame of okay this D list directly you can give. D list you can directly give. So in this way, okay, either whether there is a list or whether that is a tuple or that is a dictionary, in all these kind of the things with the help of spark dot create data frame of your list or tuple or dictionary you can give whatever list or tuple or dictionary. But only the point is if individually you are using only a simple list. Okay, that is that to one column. Okay, with the one column, definitely we have to mention the schema. But whereas even one column also, if you are using tuple or something like that, then you need not mention the schema specification. And coming to the dictionary, okay, just one simple point is directly we can make use of the convention like how we are doing in case of the list, tuple, and all those kind of things. Just you can manage that kind of convention. So this is the way how we are performing the activities. Now, before concluding the session, one more important object I am talking, friends, that is a row object, the most frequently used construct, and of course, which is available in this thing actually, import row. And majority of our imports are from this thing only, friends, PySpark data SQL. Now you can understand that how importance Spark is giving to SQL. Okay, not only SQL, you see Python, this is the SQL. So of course, Spark, the original development of Spark is done in Scala actually. Entire Spark was written in Scala, but now Python and SQL in terms of PySpark, our 98 percentage of development is this thing only, friends. Not in Scala is far away actually. Okay, but still Scala is really well because it due to its functional programming and object-oriented programming, Scala is really well. But of course, maybe people resources are not available for us. So simply we cannot venture that thing. So definitely Python resources are more and SQL resources are also more. It is easy for us to simply go and get the conventions. So that is how you can manage. So in the coming sessions, we'll see the row-wise specifications, how we can manage. So we can stop here, guys. And meantime, as I said, if you are having any specific topic discussion, or if you want me to explain a specific aspect, please ping me so that I can scope that point also. However, if you are asking or not asking, definitely I'm completing the syllabus based on this DE. Okay, whatever the aspects we need. Accordingly, I will go with my flow. Okay, that is a generic aspect. But above and beyond, if you want any kind of thing, if you follow these kind of thing, definitely you can get some confidence. Okay, how we are performing and how we are doing. Along with your preparation, make use of these things also for betterment of your ranking and all. Okay, that's all, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Hey, hi
listening.
Pawan.
Follow all the
Hi.
other members also. Yeah, Satya, tell me.
Yeah, actually, I joined this call to ask you something about related to cluster, Pawan.
What exactly that cluster and proprietary cluster you want, or what you
For
want right now?
example, I wanted to know about shared cluster. Okay. So currently, for
Uh,
example, if we do any POC, right, usually they will give us single cluster. Only one
no
user can
cluster.
use it at a time, right?
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If at all,
Yeah. Go ahead. Mm,
if at all we wanted to change that to a like a shared cluster in the policy, right? Shared compute policy.
mm.
Like how
Uh,
much cost implication will be there usually?
Cost implication actually such a, to be frank, AWS is a shared cluster. As per,
Okay.
if you see earlier in my earlier work with Global Logic and Allstate, all we have the common AWS kind of the cluster. And
Okay.
there we use such a actually 20 different tools. Not
Okay.
only this PySpark, Wooji, and this HBase,
Okay.
HDFS, we
Okay.
use Zookeeper. Because, at a moment such a what happens is DE and ML people like a common group, like a
Hmm.
common, and we don't know whether such a is asking the kind of resource, or Pavani is looking for any kind of resource. Maybe entire PySpark is also running on top of Hadoop actually. I mean,
Okay.
PySpark also picking up the data from the HDFS cluster, because
Okay.
that is a deadly combo. Such the reason behind is simple. HDFS is very solid in the replication and as well as data reality and reliability. That is one thing. But
Okay.
Spark is very fast in running the data. I mean,
Okay.
picking up the data and in memory computing. So we used that cluster, and to be honest, that is the shared cluster actually. And we
Okay.
can see, suppose you are from Indian, I can sit somewhere and I can see what Satya is submitting and how much time he has taken. Up to that only. It's not never. It is not going to. Compromise your security or protection kind of thing. But the
Mhm.
point is, AWS, GCP, and all these Azure kind of thing definitely give the shared resources. Hope you
Okay.
got the point. It's a typical cluster kind of thing.
Mhm.
Typical cluster kind of thing. And but whereas, as you asked one question, can we share? Databricks is proprietary such actually. That's what we are trying actually. So now, as of now, we are adding only this community edition for the preparation and all.
Okay, in terms
And
of, so
uh,
sorry to interrupt. So in
no
terms of
problem.
cost to the customer, right? For example,
Hmm.
if we wanted to make it as shared access, the
Uh-huh.
existing cluster. So
Hmm.
how much cost it will be per hour for
Anna, if you remember correctly, while we discussed with that Pro people, they have given that quotation, na? So maybe per user. Actually, we discussed this such actually,
okay,
like all these tools actually, no limitation. Maybe that is
okay.
a Hadoop cluster or Python based Jupyter notebook. It is around 12 to 1500 only such.
Sorry, 12 to
Okay,
15?
100 actually monthly maybe, and of course they will give some 7 node cluster actually. Let me give you that clarification also.
Okay.
uh, just we are having that cluster with this thing actually, that is based on a 7 node cluster, and with name node and secondary name node, because as a backup we need that one. This is
Mhm.
a master node actually, this is a master node.
Mm, okay.
Along with that, we are having 5 data nodes, such actually 5 data
Okay.
nodes, and these 5 data nodes maybe more than 1 TB or 100 TB up to that is our configuration according to us.
Mhm.
So that means master 2 nodes. One is main server, and second is
Mhm.
the backup server actually. This is
Mhm.
the backup server, and likewise we are having 5 different data nodes actually. Data node 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is total 7 node cluster actually. And
Okay.
this 7 node cluster, what they are giving is you can straight away work with the PySpark, Scala, Zookeeper, HDFS,
Mhm.
and some other MapReduce one is there. Of course, they are MapReduce 2 obviously, and you refer OG, Zookeeper, HDFS, MapReduce one, this one, Scoop, Plume, like plenty of tools are there, Satya. Okay,
Okay.
and of course, reasonably the speed and all definitely good. Speed and memory also excellent, as I said. Okay, and
Mhm.
all these all state global logic, they are using this one, and of course, this is running on top of AWS S3.
Okay, so for example, if I say if we convert a single node to a shared compute, right? So I can say
Ah,
per hour it might charge around $4 to $5, or it will be more than that.
that comes around that only. Satya. You're right. Because
Okay.
the benefit here is, the benefit why, though that single node, if I'm saying, then your job may not we cannot depend on the job whether it is going to execute or not, because you are saying single node. But
Mhm.
why I'm saying the 7 node, or you can go with the 3 node also. 3 node, why I'm saying is one can be dedicated to master,
Okay.
and remaining 2 nodes, one is data node 1 and data node 2. If any
Mhm.
something happened to this running of your job, and immediately this master can contact the second one for the
Okay.
reliability purpose. That too, we are running heavy jobs and all. So at least 3 node cluster means, as you said, it comes to that price around such. Not more
Okay.
than that, definitely. Yeah, not more
Okay.
than that. But with all these, both DE guys can use, and ML guys also can use.
Okay.
Okay, na? Yeah. Hope I answered
Okay.
your question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, got it. That helps.
Then,
Rohan. Thank you. Thank you so much.
okay, okay. So, uh, any other doubts, guys? Okay, with this, such if you are having any such any explanations, just you ping me, no problem. So
Sure.
just we are having the discussion, no issue. I'll be with you.
Maybe I might reach. When you will be free, Pawan? Usually, like if you are free, I might ping
After
later.
5:30, because six, what I'm doing here, such a nowadays that one certification course I registered actually, data science. JNTU is
Okay.
offering, JNTU H is offering actually.
Okay.
Maybe that is alternative day 6:30 to 8:30 I'm having. Otherwise,
Okay.
if I'm having training also morning, you ping me on lunchtime or sometime, no problem. I'll contact. Okay,
Sure.
you can reach me, no problem. Okay,
Okay,
that's
Pawan.
all. Yeah, Pavani, what
Thank.
is the Satya? Where are you actually? How much you have done, and when you are planning to take the exam?
Mine is done, Pawan. I cleared the
Done now.
certification.
Okay. Very good, very good. Any other further you are planning? Maybe professional.
Maybe later on, after a couple of months, I will plan for
Yeah,
professional.
you are enjoying the current one only then.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Congrats, congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Pavani, what is your status and when you are going to take the exam?
Dr. Pavan, so like in my case, the partitions and joins are pending. So I feel that are a little complex to understand. So I'm spending more time on that.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
yeah. So other
Of course,
rest,
I'll scope those things also, Pavani, because one by one we'll see. Because in a way it gives as a revision kind of thing, and it gives some kind of advantage of also. Okay, so that one, no problem. Partitions and all I'll cover. However, okay, yeah,
yeah,
that's it. Now, any other? Okay, I don't know anything we need to announce. I'm done with the session. That's all from my side. So,
Yes,
Arpan,
Dr. Pavan,
yeah, yeah.
on the capstone project. So next week we will be beginning the capstone project, right? With the orientation of what is required and all that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll conduct one workshop. So then, before that only, we'll conduct, I don't know, maybe Monday, we'll float one mailer.
Huh.
And of course, Monday evening, at same time, 5:30 to 6 or 6:30, we'll conduct one workshop. Let them join, the members who are free. We'll record the session, however. And by Monday, we'll be sharing the capstone project for both DE and as well as the ML,
Oh,
and then we'll give the guidelines, and November 14th is the submission deadline. Okay,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Monday
Thank
will
you, Doctor.
give the
Yeah.
clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you friends, see you
Thank
back.
you.
Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you all.